5 True Uber Horror Stories. My driver took a different route on purpose. Fearful face. Story 1. The detour into the woods. It was supposed to be a normal Friday night. A college student named Claire had gone out with friends and, after a late dinner, called an Uber to take her back to campus. She double-checked the license plate and the driver's face before getting in. Everything matched. The ride started smoothly, but after about 10 minutes, Claire noticed the driver didn't take the usual freeway entrance. Instead, he veered onto a smaller side road. I think you missed the turn, Claire said. The driver, without even looking at her, muttered, "This way's faster." Her stomach tightened. The faster route was leading them into a wooded area with fewer and fewer streetlights. She tried to stay calm, pulling out her phone to follow the GPS. According to the map, they were completely off course. When she pressed the emergency button in the Uber app, the driver suddenly locked the doors. "Don't do that," he whispered. Panic surged through her. Claire quickly texted her roommate her live location and typed just 2 words, "Help me." Minutes later, the driver pulled over on a dirt path in the woods. He turned, his face eerily calm, and said, "We're just going to wait here a bit." But before he could explain more, his phone rang. He stepped out of the car to answer it. That's when Claire scrambled into the front seat, unlocked the doors, and bolted out, sprinting toward the main road. She flagged down another car, and by the time police arrived, the Uber driver had vanished. The account was later banned, but no one ever found out what he was planning to do in those woods. Story 2. The Silent Passenger. Jason was heading home after a late shift at work. He ordered an Uber around midnight, and when the car arrived, the driver greeted him with a nod but said nothing. Jason sat in the back and noticed something odd. There was a strange smell, like bleach, and the windows were all rolled up tight. He tried to make small talk, but the driver ignored him completely, eyes glued to the road. As they drove, Jason realized the driver wasn't following the GPS at all. Instead of heading toward his neighborhood, they were driving into an industrial district. Jason asked, "Hey man, where are we going?" Finally, the driver spoke. His voice was low, raspy. "Don't worry. Almost there." Jason's heart began pounding. He subtly texted his brother his location and wrote, "Call me in 5." When the phone rang, Jason put it on speaker and loudly said, "Yeah, I'll see you at the house. Can't wait to introduce you to the Uber driver, he's really cool." The driver's hands tightened on the wheel. Without a word, he made a sudden U-turn and headed back toward the city. He dropped Jason off a few blocks from his home and sped away without even stopping fully. The police later traced the car, but the driver's profile was fake. The name, the picture, even the license plate he'd registered, none of it was real. Story 3. The Van with No Exit. Sophie was visiting another city for work. She called for an Uber late at night, and instead of a regular car, a black van pulled up. She hesitated, but the license plate matched, so she got in. The inside was dark, with tinted windows, and she noticed immediately that the child safety locks were on. When she tried to open the door slightly, it wouldn't budge. The driver was a middle-aged man with piercing eyes who kept glancing at her in the rear-view mirror. Instead of making conversation, he just kept smiling. After a few minutes, Sophie realized they weren't heading toward her hotel. "Excuse me, this isn't the right way," she said. The man chuckled, "Oh, don't worry. I know a shortcut." Her blood ran cold. The shortcut was an abandoned part of the city. No lights, no people. She thought fast. Pretending to be calm, she asked, "Can we stop at a gas station first? I really need to use the bathroom." At first, the driver didn't respond. But then he shrugged and pulled into a small, run-down station. As soon as the van stopped, Sophie shoved money at him, saying, "I'll be right back," and ran inside. She begged the cashier to call the police. By the time officers arrived, the van was gone. But the most disturbing part. When Uber investigated, they claimed there was never any ride assigned to her account that night. Story 4. The Locked Doors. Daniel was traveling home from the airport. His Uber driver seemed friendly at first, making casual conversation about the weather and traffic. But halfway into the ride, the tone shifted. The driver started asking strange questions. So, do you live alone? Got a girlfriend? Anyone waiting for you at home? Daniel laughed nervously and tried to change the subject, but the questions kept coming. Then, the driver reached over and hit the child lock button. The sound of the doors clicking shut made Daniel's stomach drop. He pulled on the handle. Locked. The driver smiled through the rear view mirror and said, "Don't worry. You're safe with me." Daniel knew something was very wrong. Thinking quickly, he pretended to receive a phone call and said loudly, "Yeah, Dad, I'll meet you outside the apartment in 10 minutes. The driver's face tightened. Without a word, he pulled into a crowded shopping plaza, unlocked the doors, and muttered, "Get out." Daniel jumped out and ran inside a store, shaking. Later, when he tried to report the incident, the driver's profile was already deleted. Story 5. The Familiar Stranger. Maya ordered an Uber after a night out. When the car arrived, the driver greeted her by name before she even said anything. She assumed he'd read it off the app, but something about the way he said it made her uneasy, like he already knew her. During the ride, he began talking about her life. "So, how's your little brother? Still in high school?" Maya froze. That wasn't on her profile. "I've seen you walking home from campus," the driver continued casually. "You always take the same route, don't you?" Her hands trembled. He wasn't reading from an app. He'd been watching her. Maya quickly opened her phone and shared her live location with her best friend. Then she said loudly, "Hey, I'm on my way, can you meet me outside?" The driver's eyes darkened. He said nothing, but his knuckles turned white on the steering wheel. Finally, when they pulled up, her friend was waiting outside, filming with her phone. The driver glared, then sped off as soon as Maya stepped out. When she checked the app later, the trip history was gone. Almost like it had never existed. Closing narration. These are just 5 of countless chilling experiences passengers have reported while using rideshare apps. Most rides are safe, but sometimes, the person behind the wheel has much darker intentions. So the next time you step into a stranger's car, ask yourself, do you really know where you're headed?